battle against he's playing a 4-color loam deck here. So we have seen this before, Abrupt Decays, Liliana Veils, and all that stuff, Punishing Fires, Night of the Reliquary. So this will be a little bit interesting to watch here as Herrera and Job sitting at 9-1-1. You can see Jonathan having a good run so far with a big smile on his face.
And I suspect this matchup's going to be tough for Marco here. He doesn't have a lot in the ways of interaction for what is going on with Jonathan's deck here. I assume that he has copies of Abrupt Decay?
Yes, he does have 3 copies of that, so that'll allow him to interact. He does have some copies of Chalice of the Void, Liliana the Veil, Sylvan Library, some Mox Diamonds, some Light from the Loams, all that jazz. You know, we've seen these sort of decks before, and you know what's interesting about this deck is, you know, the people who play these loam decks, they always play these loam decks. They don't ever switch to anything else.
They love grinding their opponent down.
Yep,
they love it, and it's interesting to see a loam in action here because Wasteland's been on such a decline, and this is the kind of Wasteland strategy. It is not just playing Wastelands, its whole game plan is about looping Wastelands.
Misty Rainforest is the play here for Job to start things off. I imagine that most people do not know what Job is up to yet, so this should be a little bit interesting. Herrera has a Wasteland. He is one of the people who does have Wasteland this weekend. He also has a Mox Diamond.
Jonathan Job also playing with one of the more curious enablers in all of Legacy, Manipulate Fate.
Ah, yes. A Job favorite.
Yes. Good with the Griffins.
Caracas will be discarded, and we're going to be heading Job's way. He will draw a card.
When I was a kid, Mox Diamond was a card that I wanted to own because I thought the art was just so sweet. Didn't even want to put it in any decks.
It's just a diamond. That's it. Am I missing something?
I mean, the art style is sort of an homage to the original Moxes also.
It takes a little more to impress me, I suppose.
Maybe just too subtle. I don't know.
Perhaps. But you like simpler things. I like big flashy things.
Sure.
So?
This is where you and I are different.
That's correct.
Among many other reasons. But.
Indeed. You like The Economist. I like BuzzFeed.
Yep.
See, that's where we differ.
Both news websites.
They sure are.
They do provide information to people.
Job's going to sacrifice the Misty Rainforest to get an island. See what the follow-up's going to be. There's a Brainstorm. So 3 cards coming, and of course 2 going to be going back. A couple of lands there, it looks like. Looks like also a Mist Hollow Griffin. One part of the combo. And we've seen him before go with Mist Hollow Griffin Beatdown.
The backup plan.
Yes.
You know how Elves has the backup plan? It can start beating down?
I do.
This deck has an even backier up plan, which is this bad boy going to the skies.
Feel free to Swords to Plowshares that whenever
Yeah, it comes right back.
Yeah, can't stop it.
Oblivion Ring? Okay. No problem.
2 cards will go back here for Job. There is a Polluted Delta, pass the turn back. Doing the best that he can to play around Wasteland. Baron Morgan has to be cycled here by Herrera.
Yeah, I don't think Job wants to deploy any non-basics in this matchup until he's in a point where he can win in 1 turn.
Well, if you know a lot about Legacy, I suppose you don't need to know a ton, but when you see a Mox Diamond and a Wasteland in play, it's very clear what your opponent's playing.
Yeah, discarding Caracas to a Mox Diamond, I mean.
Liliana the Veil here. See if Job wants to counter this. He brings Force of Will forward in his hand pretty quick. Boy, that's a nice card to exile there.
Oh, yeah. That's a combo right there.
Welcome to Legacy, my friends. Got you all set up how I want you. Herrera might be taking a look at the Mist Hollow Griffin, wondering, does that work the way I think it does? Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, someone discovered a combo. I forgot about this synergy of the deck, the Force of Will plus Griffin.
Absolutely. Busted, as it were. Job going to sacrifice his Polluted Delta.
I think we might be ready to go.
It might be showtime. It might be. There's a Swamp. Job with a couple basics in his deck.
So the glue of this deck is from the abyss of Magic sets, Mercadian Masks.
How come you gotta talk about it like that? It's got some real winners out there.
It just is what it is.
It's got some real winners, man. It's a baleful strix. Not time for food change just yet.
Not yet.
Job does have a Tropical Island and a food chain in his hand, but he's holding steady.
He may lack something to win the game with, is the issue.
For the moment, he'll get Strixie, draw a card, and just pass the turn back. Herrera does have a copy of Life in the Loam in his hand, so he can get the Wasteland Life in the Loam engine online if Job were willing to cooperate and play a non-basic.
And Job's just keeping his powder dry right now. He's got a green Source of Mana in hand. He's got a food chain. Got a Griffin in exile. He's really only missing something to win the game with. So he doesn't want to run out of land because he'll get Wasteland. He doesn't just want to plop his food chain on the table because he could get hit by Abrupt Decay.
He wants to do it all in one turn.
And it's not like Marco's putting him under any pressure right now, so there's no rush.
There's a Loam. That's good to go. You can have your Baron Moore and your fetch line back. Don't mind if you do. There's Caracas. Pass the turn back. Job, one tap. It's time to draw. Didn't get a great look at it. Looks like it's a copy of, oh, of course it's a Manipulate Fate. Why wouldn't it be?
Working man's intuition.
Yeah, we're going to see it in action right now. Ah, we have a reader. Manipulate Fate is what Herrera is reading. What do you do?
I believe it's an uncommon from Invasion.
Nailed it.
And you get to, it's kind of like Intuition, assuming that the only card you want to get is Miss Hollow Griffin.
Now Marco is, it's very clear that this is the first time he's played against this deck.
Yep.
Not many people have seen this food chain deck in action. This is the deck that Job likes quite a bit and has had success with on the Open Series circuit.
I've been in Marco's spot before where I don't quite know what's going on, but I do know that I'm almost dead. I don't know how it's going to happen just yet, but...
So are you saying that Job's plan is not to just cast 3/3s for the rest of the game? Is that what you're saying?
Well, especially in Legacy, because who knows how big, the card pool is so big. There's some, I would just assume there's some weirdo from Weatherlight or the Dark or something that combos with these things to kill me.
One thing to notice there, too, Job was able to draw a card because Manipulate Fate, well, it cantrips, too.
Yeah, what a deal.
Yeah. This probably should be banned. It's too good.
And this is a spot where Job can go to the ancillary beatdown plan of just food chain, put all these Griffins into play, and good luck dealing with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would prefer to go infinite or at least get an Emrakul into play or something, but he does not have to wait to go infinite at this point. Deploying the food chain just to put one Griffin into play, not worth it, but if he's going to get 4 of them, that's a different story.
Job going to play Tropical Island. There's a Deathrite Shaman, and now I'll pass the turn back. So he has finally given Herrera a Wasteland target. But he is working towards something greater. Herrera takes a look at his hand. Got a lot of lands over there, of course. Life in the Loam, which is going to dredge. So an Abrupt Decay, a Baron Moor, and a Scrub land go to the bin.
It's really important for Marco to get something going, even if it's just Knight of the Reliquary. He can't wait forever.
Anything. Start by playing a forest. See you later, Wasteland. Takes care of the Tropical Island. There's Life in the Loam. Get a couple lands back, all the value. Who needs Treasure Cruise when you can do this?
Well, it's unclear if Marco's going to be able to convert these lands into anything.
Who needs Treasure Cruise when you can do this? That's what I said. I mean it. Cycle that Baron Moore. We're having fun wastelanding you. Look, this is one of my favorite decks. I just don't think it's going to win this game. That's all. It's not looking great. We're getting Strixie. Put you down. Job's going to play Underground Sea. It's going to remove the Tropical Island. It's the food chain.
Here we go.
Sacrifice the Strix. That'll give you mana +1. Uh-oh. Look out, ladies.
Yep. So he can sack the Griffin. That's +1 mana. He can do this until he generates as much mana as he wants for creatures. I don't think he has a big payoff in his hand, but he can get all of the Griffins out of exile.
That is the big payoff. Griffin City, USA.
Welcome to Phantom Monster Town.
Now Job is going animal again, creating a bunch of mana. And now there's a Vendilion click.
Sweet.
We'll see if he's going to target Herrera or himself. He says, let me see your hand. Oh, you've got a bunch of lands at Green Sun Zenith and Nether Reliquary. I'd be surprised if Job takes a card here.
Keep in mind also, as long as the food chain is in play, Job has the option of sacking everything and just putting it back into exile.
Yep.
So, you know, even if Marco has something like Toxic Deluge or Damnation hanging out in his deck, that's not the end of the world for Job. He can just send all of his Griffins away and wait to reassemble down the line.
Looks like Dried Arbor among the lands there. A Green Sun Zenith target, of course.
Also a way to deceive your opponent because that art so closely resembles a forest that who can tell the difference?
I feel as though you have strong opinions about that artwork.
I think it's the most ban-worthy card in Legacy, is that particular art of Dryad Arbor.
Job will push a card to the bottom. Mystery card there for Herrera. He drew a copy of Liliana the Veil. Not particularly good on this board. Marco going to cycle a Baron Moore, draw a card, untap. Perhaps he'll dredge Loam again? He's looking for a draw step. He wants a draw step, and he'll take one. Looks like it was a copy of Verdant Catacombs.
So, Job demonstrating the power of this deck. Whenever you have a combo deck that can win in a non-infinite situation, that's pretty impressive.
I am a big fan of that. He can just put a bunch of 3/3 flyers into play and say, can you beat these? And taking a look at Marco's hand and his board right now, it looks like the answer is no.
Well, he's looking at 17 points of damage next turn, 15 in the air plus a Deathbred Shaman. Means he can't crack a fetch land. And it looks like he's just tapping the mat.
Game number one goes to Jonathan Job. Food Chain up a game here over 4-color Loam. We're in the brew part of our tournament right now. Players doing well with some very interesting decks, but I do love it. As we take a look at the sideboards here, we will start with Marcos as he will be on the play. You'll find, well, a hater here in Circle Protection Red. Think about that.
Dude, Marco, come on.
He's also got
fight fair.
He's also got some Leyline of the Voids, a couple copies of Golgari Charm, an Ancient Grudge, a Thrun the Lastro, a Gaddock, and a Kosai Pridemate. So he's got some nice options here, actually.
Well, I'm not sure I'm that enamored with anything here except for the copies of Golgari Charm. Oh. Something that's easy to get Fujin off the table, a couple more copies of Abrupt Decay. But Leyline of the Void does not seem good.
No, not quite. Not quite.
Since Job's combo runs out of the exile zone,
yes,
so
it
does not seem awesome to me. Yeah, nothing's really jumping out at me. Maybe the Kasali Pridemage is okay as well. It's just another way to attack Food Chain.
What do we see on your side?
3 Duress, 2 Disfigure, a Jace the Mind Sculptor, a Toxic Deluge, 2 copies of Gravedigger's Cage, 2 Leyline of the Void, 2 Venser Shaper Savant, a Caracas, and an Abrupt Decay. So I like bringing in the 2 copies of Venser. They're just a catch-all just for troublesome permanents. This deck, you know, there's some random permanents out there that can be problematic. Venser catches them all. Also, Marco's deck is a little on the slow side, so even using Venser to bounce Knight of the Reliquary is a tempo play. I think it's legitimate. I think the 2 copies of Leyline of the Void, very easy to bring in against any deck that's built around Life from Loam and Knight of the Reliquary. And I think the Jace the Mind Sculptor can come in for similar reasons. Marco's not really that good at pressuring Planeswalkers. It's outside of a Abrupt Decay range. And if Marco's bringing in anything for the matchup, it's probably more things to slow Job down. And in that kind of game, Jace can really shine.
Food Chain. Yes, Food Chain. 9-1-1 here in New Jersey.
It's part of the charm of Legacy. And, you know, it says a lot that someone can become an expert with a particular deck, bring it to tournament, the metagame shifts, you stay in your own little silo working on your craft, and you can come to these big events, catch people off guard, and do well with them. I mean, Legacy is a huge format. And if you asked me to rattle off the 25 biggest decks in Legacy, I don't think Food Chain cracks the list. It's probably just Job and, you know, 1 or 2 other people in the room that brought this deck. But here he is at 9-1-1. Still with a puncher's chance of making the top 8. Very impressive stuff.
I like it. I want to see Genesis Hydra happen. That's what I want. I don't ask for much in life, but show me a big Genesis Hydra. Let me see it fully go off. That's what I want to see.
Genesis Hydra for your whole deck?
Yes.
It's awesome.
I will select Emrakul or something else ridiculous. I'll select Time Spell Tyrant. Bounce it.
Re-up,
Yeah.
Evercool, tag team,
Yeah, champions of the world.
untap, 67U, kill all your permanents. Put 4 Griffins into play. Your turn.
You're up. You're up. Do your worst. Oh, Cycle of Baronmore.
Okay.
Okay. Now this this Loam deck and the Lance decks are pretty well positioned this weekend, so it doesn't surprise me to see Herrera be 9-1-1 this weekend. Seems like it has a good matchup against these Jeskai Stoneblade decks, and these Treasure Cruise decks overall.
Night of the Reliquary is one of the better cards that you can bring to the table against Treasure Cruise decks, because a lot of them just can't kill things that are big.
Yeah, that thing's a 4/4. Hello.
Yeah, the most popular deck in the room, the blue-red Delver strategy, really struggles to get things off the table that are bigger than 3/3.
Wouldn't surprise me. That's how you exploit the deck, is play something that does have 4 more toughness, and perhaps these blue Delver decks seem to move towards cards like Flame Slash, for example.
I've thought about that too. Maybe it's time. Maybe there should be more spell skites in people's sideboards. I don't know.
Yeah.
But 4 toughness is the magical number against most of these Delver decks.
I see them really struggle. They typically have to use 2 cards to get it off the table unless there's some creative deck building. So we'll see what happens with that strategy.
Part of the reason Batterskull is public enemy number 1. A lot of Miracles players have Baneslayer Angel in their sideboard for similar reasons.
Oof, Love me a Baneslayer Angel. Don't have to tell me twice. I'm sure you like it too. Probably not.
I mean, it's one of Magic's sweetest designs of all time. It was the marquee card of M10, which is in my opinion one of Magic's best design and developed sets.
Okay.
It has beaten me quite a few times, and so there's some lingering resentment. But overall, I'm a fan of the card.
Protection from demons and dragons, too.
Yes.
And that's not just thrown on there. Beats Broodmage Dragon in a battle. A couple other cards probably not thinking of right now.
Shivan Dragon.
See ya. It's easy breezy for the Baneslayer.
Dragon Whelp, I think.
I'll leave that card alone.
Not sure how it was phrased and revised. So it was
I hope
probably
it is creature type Whelp.
or Baby Dragon.
And then it just beats Baneslayer Angel. That'd be a nice flavor fail. I would enjoy that.
The creature types back in the day were a little sloppy.
Hell. That kind of just is what it is.
I believe Abu Jafar was summoned Leper.
Really?
Not 100%.
Okay.
Pretty sure. It was looser back in the day. That's all my point is.
Change things up a little bit, that's all.
Yeah.
It's more
Eventually they
streamlined.
cleaned that up with
Yeah, it's
the...
more streamlined. Now,
Yeah.
Arcbound Ravager is a beast, for example.
Is
Which-
it?
Yes.
You can contest Eclipse with an Arcbound Ravager?
Yes.
What has the world come to? I had no idea that was a thing.
It does not look like a beast.
I'm glad that you've told me this before that interaction came up in coverage.
Yeah.
Someone sacking a Ravager to a Ravenous Baloth and moving some counters over to some other artifact that happens to randomly be a beast.
Some other artifact beast. Yeah. Yeah. What on earth is going on? Herrera going to be on the play here. Take a look at his starting hand. He knows what Job's up to now, or at least he's got a pretty good idea. He's got no interest in playing a fair game. He's playing a rather unique one, but there's nothing fair about it. Marco going to give it a long look. I don't look too thrilled with things, but and he will take a mulligan.
But 4-color Loam decks are pretty robust with their mulligans, because if they get Loam, raw card count is not going to be the issue. If they lose games, it's going to be because they couldn't handle things that slip through the cracks.
Yep. Loam can undo a mulligan quite quickly. Looks like Job is happy with this keep. Vegas native, one of many who traveled out to New Jersey to do battle.
I think originally from the Houston area, now
Absolutely.
living in Las Vegas.
Likes to play some poker from time to time. Has been enjoying his time playing Magic and other card games while living in Vegas. And good to see him out here. He also came across with Tan and Grace and AJ Soccer.
A couple of his buddies also from the Vegas area.
Soccer having a nice tournament here. I think he's either sitting, last I checked, he was sitting at X1 playing Blue-Red Delver. So we'll see if he's able to make a run in his return to Magic. Haven't seen him for a while at the card tables, but good to have him back as well.
Absolutely.
And we'll see if Herrera here, more of an unknown, can continue to keep winning and make a name for himself this weekend.
Well, that's another element of big tournaments. You know, it's going to be someone's breakout performance.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to have a 4,000 person Grand Prix with 8 names that you know in the top 8.
Seems rather unlikely. 6 cards coming here for Marco. A ley line of the void is where Mr. Job will start.
Especially brutal against the green-black loam decks because it's outside of Abrupt Decay range. Marco may have brought in his Golgari Charms, in which case he can get out of this. And it looks like he has one in his opening hand, so he'll at least be able to get the ley line of the void off the table.
Cycle Tranquil Thicket. Get a little deeper into the deck. Herrera will draw.
Is that a Keswick Wolf Run?
You better believe it. One of.
All right. A fun of.
That is a fun of. It's not a one. That one's a fun of.
That's a fun of.
That'll take you by surprise. And there it is. In play right now. Back over to Job. We're going to go Jonathan. Happy to sacrifice his Verdant Catacombs.
I know Keswick Wolf Run, Knight of the Reliquary is a synergy
Ever
Ryan
heard of it?
Kibler has enjoyed, at least in modern formats.
Absolutely. The Knight is big, and now it has Trample. And you can search for it.
A lot of combos.
I'm hoping one day we'll see Dark Depths Thespian stage, some blockers in the air, and then just give that bad boy Trample.
Pretty nice.
Good night. Looks like it's going to be a brainstorm in a turn here from Job. Getting it set up for the next turn. 3 cards coming here for Jonathan. 2 cards, of course, going back. Ley Line of the Void, one of the cards he did draw.
Would imagine Joe wants to shuffle away the spare ley line if he can. Though, his deck can cast it, and Marco is likely to be able to blow up the first one, so perhaps not.
The draw here is an Underground Sea. Does Job have a fetch land or some way to shuffle his deck? Manipulate Fate says, yes, I do. And that will resolve. Miss Tyler Griffin time.
Love it.
Pretty hard not to. If you don't love this, you don't love Magic the Gathering.
And if Marco's draw is a little on the slow side, doesn't really have anything going, don't be surprised if Job just ignores the food chain altogether and starts.
Perhaps a little hard casty pool.
Oh, yeah.
Can't be too proud to pay 4 mana for a 3/3 flyer.
I believe it was Phantom Monster / Rock of Carriage in Alpha, the
Oh,
3/3
yes.
flyers for.
The mighty Phantom Monster.
Yeah.
Cycle a Tranquil Thicket here, will Herrera. Draw a card again. Those lands are gone for good, unfortunately for him. But Ley Line of the Void demonstrating its power right now.
Marco without black mana, so he can't access the Golgari Charm right now, but Kasali Primage can answer the ley line.
Does have a Pride Mage here, though.
Yep. That's the starting point. Once he gets the ley line off the table, he can start playing Magic. Until then, his deck's all about the graveyard.
Bayou into Noble Hierarch and simply passing the turn back. We're going to untap the Scrub Land of the Forest. We think he might just want to fire off the Pride Mage now.
Well, this is the dilemma. What provides him more utility in the long term? Is it a Pride Mage that's attacking and then he can use it instant speed? Or is it a Golgari Charm that might have other utility? I happen to think that I would rather use the Golgari Charm and keep the Pride Mage in play because Marco does need to start attacking at some point. But electing to keep the Charm for the time being.
His graveyard's back online. Looks like just in time, as he does have a Grove of the Burn Willows and a Punishing Fire. So we're going to get that combo going, and here's Dark Confidant as well. So Marco beginning to turn the corner a little bit here, though Abrupt Decay is going to slow that down. Job will untap. He will take a draw here. Does have the 4th land. Oh, yes.
Here we go.
Oh, boy. Nice Punishing Fire. Can you beat a 3/3?
Abrupt Decay, no thank you. Now the Royal Clary, fly right over that.
Somebody's found a hole in the format. See for Herrera right now, looks like he may have a copy of Life in the Loam in his hand, but nothing to bring back, so he's just going to cast it with no targets. Also has a Mox Diamond, can't do anything with that, and then the G-Charm in hand. So 3-3 beatdown is going to be good for a little bit. This Job's going to draw a card. Baleful Strixie.
Don't deviate from the course.
Ah, you want another 3-3 flyer, huh?
Yeah, first one's good, second one's better.
It looks like John's with you.
Yes.
To the skies, my friend. To the skies. Herrera's going to dredge. 1 is a Knight. 2 is a Verdant Catacombs. 3 is a Mystery. It looks like a Mox Diamond, though.
You can sort of slowly start piecing something together with this loam, but the pressure's going to add up pretty fast.
Slowly is the best way to describe it.
It's 6 next turn and then 9 the following turn.
Oof-ah. It looks like another Knight of the Reliquary was the other card that was dredged here. So just 1 land in the graveyard, which is a Verdant Catacombs. That doesn't really do him a lot of good. Even though Leyline of the Void was handled, it had an effect on the game.
Definitely.
As it oftentimes does against these land strategies.
Slowed him down quite a bit.
Verdant Catacombs is going to be brought back with Loam, put to play as Herrera's land drop. He's going to go down to 16 now. There is a Taiga. Don't see that one a lot in Legacy anymore.
1-11 Belcher, some Jund decks.
Boom.
But yes, the days of Curdape, perhaps in our rearview mirror. Not as many Taigas as they used to be.
Tough to watch.
Sad. On the extinct list, or at least endangered.
Wow, Mikado too.
Yep. All the animals.
Yeah.
Loam Lion.
Never sure that one really got out of the gate. Job gonna untap. It's time to take a draw. Just another land here for Jonathan, but the backup plan of Griffin Beats working out pretty well.
And Job can go ahead here, play a Strix, and if he finds something to go off with, I think he has Food Chain, but he's missing a big thing, then he can win the game. And if not, just add on to the aerial force.
Draw a card. Looks like he may have just found a Shardless Agent. There's a land. Oh, yes. Quick math. 3 + 3 + 3 + 1. That checks out to be 10.
Well, the risk with this play is that if Margot has a sweeper, all the Griffins are then in the graveyard.
Yes.
And I'm not sure how Job operates once they're in the graveyard.
This is true. It's not easy to do. Punishing Fire returned back to Marco's hand. It doesn't look like Marco has a sweeper. And he is just dredging. So you can see his hand right now. There's a Loam over there. There's a Punishing Fire. A Golgari Charm, which is a sweeper in some instances, but not this one. And then a Mox Diamond.
I think Job is correctly sensing weakness. I don't mind going on the offensive here to try to close this game out, but there is some risk.
A couple of lands returned, and Baron Moore and Verdant Catacombs. Looks like Herrera's going to discard the Moore, perhaps, for the Mox Diamond. Yes. Verdant Catacombs. Knows he's in some trouble.
I mean, the Golgari Charm does buy him a little bit of breathing space, but he's still
Fog-esque card here.
He's still facing lethal on the next turn.
Another fetch land drawn there for Job, so no card drawing effects. Anything that's all that helpful. But he just says, how about the beats? Are the beats good? He hopes they are.
We know that Loam decks are soft to flyers.
Always have been.
We know that they're soft to permanents that cost more than 3 mana. I did not know they were this soft.
Yes. Very, very soft. There goes old Strixie. And now there's a punishing fire. So slowly working away at these flyers. Looks like only 4 damage is going to come across now.
But I think now that Herrera has to take a draw step next turn, I guess he can dredge into Mazaveth. But it's going to be challenging for him to win via loam at this point.
Yeah, that's the big issue, right? I suppose he could dredge into a punishing fire. I don't know if the mana is there to be able to do everything he wants to do with that, though. It looks like it's starting to add up. I'm going to return that. Joe says, hold on just a minute, my friend.
Yeah.
My turn is not over just yet. It's Deathrite Shaman. A juicy target.
And if I'm Job, I don't mind deploying the food chain here because it's insurance against Herrera taking a draw step and finding a sweeper.
Yeah, no, I like the reasons for deploying that you mentioned. And it looks like he may do that. There's a Misty. He's going to sacrifice this here. Yeah, he could get creative. Deathrite Shaman, remove my Mist Hollow Griffin.
Aha!
And then cast it.
Aha!
You got to open up every angle.
Yep. Reestablishing the loop.
Yes. Showing his dominance.
Had not considered the Deathrite Shaman. So many little synergies.
That's what makes Legacy great.
It's like an onion. You peel away the layers and there's just more layers, you know?
Oh, Genesis Hydra for 4.
That's fun too.
Look at us go. Tie Spout Tyrant.
Sure.
That's a motley crew of cards to turn over.
He had something.
Yeah.
Quite the accomplishment. Not really that many hits in the deck.
A Tie Spout Tyrant, a Disfigure, a Deathrite Shaman, and a land. Yep. Just a day at the office here for Job. But more importantly, there's a 4/4 out there. And now that he's cluttered the board with so much stuff, and it looks like no sweeper coming here for Marco, looks like Jonathan Job, Patrick, might be headed on to 10-1-1. So he will dredge a loam here, will Herrera. Couple of lands there. Nothing all that exciting.
Neither Sworn Canonist that came out of the sideboard.
Yep. Gonna cast a loam. Dryad Arbor, Barren Moor, Verdant Catacombs. Looks to be the selection. They'll go along with Punching Fire in hand. Cycle the Barren Moor, draw mystery cards, copy Horizon Canopy. Two mana. Punishing Fire. See you later, Deathrite Shaman. There's Horizon Canopy. Let you gain. Pick this up. Take 1 from the Horizon Canopy.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough ways
doesn't
for him.
add up.
Yeah, you can't contain everything.
2 Deathrite Shamans are done, and that's going to do it. Jonathan Job's going to win this match over Marco Herrera 2-0. And for Job and his innovative food chain deck, he's 10-1-1.
And I like the addition of Genesis Hydra. Kind of for the reasons you saw in that game.
Totally adorable.